Jonathan, do you hear me? Hello? Do you hear me? No? I don't hear you. Oh. Oh, your sound is off. Your sound is off.
A little ride-on mower, and it was out.
Did you hear me?
I did not.
You did not?
Yeah, I didn't catch it. I was driving.
I bought a new speaker and camera, so I hope that you could hear without your back noise.
I can hear you. Can you?
Good. I hear you now.
Okay.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Doing great, Chief. And you?
Oh, doing great. Just been digging
How's
some
the
holes for the foundation here.
How's the Master Sergeant doing?
She's doing great.
I know he took command already.
Oh, man.
Look like it's a nice day there.
Huh?
Look like it's a nice day there.
Oh, it's a beautiful day. Clouds are coming in. Look, they say it might rain a little bit.
Oh, okay. Do you deserve, I mean, do you want rain?
Oh, yes. Yes, rain would be nice. Water the garden, water the tree.
Good. Very good. Here it was cloudy most of the morning, and the temperature is down, almost like going into work. I could see at 6 o'clock in the morning, there's no sunlight.
Oh, man.
Not until about 6:30, quarter to 7. It's 5:30 in the morning. You should be able to see the sun, but that's summertime. When I quit working to take care of my daughter, I worked for a company that most of the football, basketball games for USC and UCLA, and sometimes they would have me out in the street because they were trying to make sure that the students wasn't harmed by, robbers and things like that. Anyway, at 5 o'clock in the morning, I used to be singing to myself, "Here come the sun, here come the sun," because it'd be freezing out there at night.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, you know what I found out? I found out that even if we wanted to go to the General Assembly in LA, the only person who'd have a chance of getting through the doors would be Shelley, because they made it to where only people who have been past or current members of the IDMR itself.
Hey, we could ask her to go, see what she say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It don't disturb me. It's just I saw one yesterday that almost make you check yourself. They had one where the founder, they had a man that had a vision and revelation, so-called, maybe 10 years before the founder had his.
Yeah,
might have been 20 years. Yeah, that's his name. And it talked about he chose the year 1932 or 1930, 1939, something. I mean, not 39, 32 or 31. And it talks about how that he had visions and this, that, and the other. And they start lining it up. We said, well, you never know who's telling you the truth when you can't get the correct answer. Because Dr. Kinley said it's 1931, although he said 31 and 32. I said, boy, if you're not on your game, you would fall for all kind of stupid mess that they talk about.
Yep. Yeah, they and Dr. Kinley talked about the Clarence Larkin's guy. He said that Yahweh didn't and so
Yeah.
they try to say that it was similar to the Founder's Chart, and
Right.
the vagueness that they try to call similarity is ridiculous. Like even the threefold of the body. How did Clarence Larkin do it? He didn't look at the way he formulated the threefold pattern. Didn't take into account Yahweh Elohim being involved in it. It was like something separate on the outer shell. The way he I've gone through it just so I can have the information.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of garbage that's going on. Just like Glenn said, it says when the sound show, there's 16 of them. Do you imagine 16 voices coming to you, bombarding you with junk? Yeah. Almost right next to them in class, and then they start trying to plant the seed of deception. But Jonathan, if I don't know who's in charge there, but if they were around for a while and told them that we was from DMR, we can get in.
It's Keith Gilkey. My uncle talked to him. My uncle had a personal conversation with him the other day, and yeah, he was talking to Keith Gilkey about it. He was talking about him about it. And Keith Gilkey had told him that it could have been you were a member 30 years ago. You haven't been a member since. But if you were a member at any time during the history of IDMR, then you could come. You could come. But if not, it was like.
Jonathan and Bernard, you're both coming in. Jonathan, I heard a portion of yours, and then when I did to the Bernard, you're coming in intermittent. This is Rita.
Okay, I bought a new camera and a new sound system, and I should have bought a new mic.
No, your mic, you're fine. You're fine with your mic. Jonathan, when you're talking to me and you're talking and you raise your head up like this, your voice goes away.
Doc?
Loud and clear.
Doc, mute yourself real quick, because there is a little bit of background noise coming from.
Okay, let's see, where is it? Right here.
How's it sound now, Rita? Does it sound clear, coming in clear now, Rita?
Wait. Okay, loud and clear. Sorry about that. I was muted on that. You're both coming in good. Okay? So maybe just whenever you start speaking or he starts speaking, I'll go out, and that'll just give us, more of a broadband,
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
I changed the location of my mic. Am I still getting feedback now?
You do have feedback coming in the background, Doc. It's like a static.
Okay.
But I did.
What about now?
It's there, just
Now,
intermittent.
Just do a test.
go ahead. Test. I changed it. So there's no volume going. Yes, okay.
What I thought was last week you didn't have noise playing in the background.
Now, see, you're coming in. See, now you're coming in. All I heard was last week you didn't have noise, and then you went away on me.
I think that's the interference from Doc's from Dr. Vine's mic. Because now I'm pretty sure. Wait, is it coming in all clear and there's no cutout now, Rita?
No.
Yeah. I think it might be your mic sensitivity setting, Doc. That would be the first thing I would check if I looked on your computer. There's a setting in your sound panel. You remember where we would go, where I show you to go to open the microphone to link it up? In that area on the computer, there's an area for microphone sensitivity. Hi, Gary. Hi, Teresa.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing well yourself?
Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Yep.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, guys.
Hope the dinner was good, Teresa.
Yeah, it was. Yep. I'm still out here waiting for the rain to let up a little bit. Me and Naomi are gonna head back shortly.
Oh, so you're still in Daytona?
Yep.
It's raining like cats and dogs?
Yeah. We're gonna be heading out.
You guys have got what you guys got? Hurricane? Yep.
No, I think it's just bands of rain. I don't think I'm not sure if it's the hurricane that's out there, if it's a band or not, but there's some rain.
So some good discussions had over the dinner?
Yeah. I sat with a lot of just a couple of people, and we just discussed and talked about how they came into contact and stuff like that, and everything. So it was a good dinner, yeah.
That's nice. That's real nice.
Was that the birthday dinner?
Yeah, it's always good to sit around and talk with like-minded people. That's for sure.
We kind of miss those, Renard.
Yes, I agree.
I don't necessarily miss fixing them all. But, I did have a lot of help.
There was a lot of people,
Yeah.
Am I still giving the back sound?
No, not to me.
There is a slight sound in the back still.
Okay, I'll go one more time.
But it just sounds like static or grass,
exactly.
or, silent, like white.
On my end, sounds great. I don't hear any problem.
Then it sounds good on his end, but we come in bad over the microphone because the small white noise creates an interference.
Right. Okay. I got a question to ask you. Want me to ask a question then?
Well, hey.
I want to ask. Remember, several weeks ago.
Hold on. Dr. Vine's got to mute his because now you're not coming in. I'll do it for you, Doc. Go ahead, Gary.
We talked about, I guess we mentioned that when a person dies, say like in the moments of their death, that Yahweh could reveal himself to that person when previously before their death, no matter, say they lived a reckless life, say they just say, I don't believe in Yahweh, this or that. But when they're dying, that there could be an opportunity that Yahweh reveals himself to that person during their death process, that they get an understanding. I may not be, I'm paraphrasing because it's been probably several weeks that we talked about this. And it's always like in the back of my mind how to understand that process. That when a person dies who didn't know Yahweh before, still maybe had the opportunity in a few moments of their death.
The best way to understand that process is the process by which you came to know and understand Yahweh. There was a death that occurred with you. There was a man that you don't know where that man went, but you know he ain't there no more. And there's a new man that's there, and you know that new man to be Yahweh himself. So that, in that, you can understand what happens with every man. Now, the difference between a man who knows not the truth on his deathbed or one who is translated before seeing death, which you already have been translated if you've been brought into the understanding, you will not see death.
Right.
Because you know yourself to be Yahweh, so when the revelation of Yahweh occurs, or Yahweh fills in every gap, as some people say, you just walking, you walking on through type of thing. But there's no you, it's just Yahweh continuing on. Even as the other person who doesn't know, it's just Yahweh continuing on. But that person didn't live a life of knowing Yahweh. So it was like they didn't truly live the pleasure of walking through creation, knowing the reality of it. And that's what the gospel, the good news, aims to give a man while he yet walks in the flesh.
But when he doesn't get that good news, I'm asking, in the moment of their death, which sometimes people die rapidly, violently, or peaceful by natural means, that person on their deathbed, Yahweh, you're saying still will reveal to himself that person to give them another chance before they.
Well, I wouldn't call it another chance, because every knee will bow, every tongue will confess. And like we say, when you come into the understanding, if you're 70 or if you're 17, you're right on time. You're at the appointed time that Yahweh chose to reveal himself to you in the time frame of his purpose. You see what I'm saying? There isn't a you might accept it, you might not. It's like, it's set. It's set. Like,
Let me give you for instance, because I understand this, but I just milling this on my mind. You got a person driving on the freeway, standing up on a motorcycle, 90 miles an hour, bam! He hits a semi truck. In that instant, he ain't thinking about Yahweh or she. At the moment of that violent death, they ain't got time to have Yahweh.
If it's the time and point for that person to die, then they are going to die. That's why, like, you have people who go through that same experience, right? And they don't die, right? Like, they don't die. Obviously, no matter what experience a person goes through, if it ain't the time in which Yahweh decides to leave that body, he ain't leaving that body. You know what I mean? Now, that you do have, and this is what's interesting, you do have instances where people who survive those things have those near-death experiences, right? Where they go into an all-enveloping light. It's the most common factor of NDEs is people being enveloped in an all-consuming oneness of light. And then they're told it's not their time, right? It's not their time. Now, we know if it was their time, they would have been seeing that revelation, and that body, that they ain't coming back in that body. Because if the revelation, even when the revelation occurs without taking some drastic incident or the person dying mortally, that kills the man within you. That's the death of that mortal man. That man dies. That old man is dead. And so that's the same thing that happens. If a person doesn't experience that when they walk in life, that's happening at death. That old man is dying, being put to death. Yahweh is going back into pure spirit, so to speak. Returning into his eternal estate. The old man, no version of an old man gets carried on through.
Of course.
You know, and that's even shown by when you come to an understanding of the truth, you don't rebuild a personality or a character. You are Yahweh walking in a coat of flesh, and that's the understanding. That is the resurrection.
Yeah.
So even in that, that's why I say in what we know to be our translation. What occurred if our translation can show every man what occurs at death, the death of the flesh.
Right. I had a near-death experience in VA hospital. I think about 20 years ago. Doctor told me my heart stopped for 2 minutes. I saw a light, but I saw a figure, but I couldn't understand what the light was brilliant. It was peaceful, and I wasn't scared. And then I restarted my heart again. So I understand that. I've never forgot about that incident that happened. I'm still reminded of it to this day. But I was just trying to figure out, since we had that discussion weeks ago, that you answered my question. So, and I do believe that wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now, Bernard, we had that incident to happen with us. Am I right, Bernard? What happened to, what's his name? And how many years was he? Was he 2 years? And
I don't remember.
Total coma. You know, I don't remember either. But he left our meeting, and he was in a motorcycle accident. And all we were able to do was just talk to him. Am I right?
Oh, you meant I'm sorry. Yes, he was in a coma for 2 years. I used to play the founders Glenn's lectures for him, and he'd turn his head with his eyes. But when they examined his brain, they said he had a big void spot in his head, and that he would never in his brain, like tissue of his brain was lost. But up until I stopped going because I couldn't tolerate looking at him like that, because I wanted to know. I used to ask Shelley and Rita, I said, what did he say? What did he do? What made this happen? But the thing is that, someone told me that the last moment that we met in Ontario, that he had some discussion or wasn't happy about what was going on and what he saw in such a small group of people. I said, I brought you to the smallest group before I took you to the large one. I didn't want you to get excited by the large one, and you could once you go from 10 to 100, it should be balanced. And the next morning, that's when he got hit by a car on his motorbike, and they operated on his head. When you look at him in the bed, he had 3 levels of his skull, different levels of his skull, and they sewed him up from here all the way down, put a rod in his arm, leg, all the way down to his ankle. He was broken. But he used to look at me, and I asked him, "Are you understanding me, Doc?" And he because I used to go every Saturday morning, and I just last few weeks of his life, I just could not continue doing that. I mean, it was like you're losing a part of yourself.
Yep.
But I used to play the founder and Glenn's lectures in his ear. Right, I put my little machine right next to his ear, and he used to look at it, and then after a while he'd slowly fall off to sleep. But
wow.
I didn't. Yeah.
But then now Gary, yours was like instant and you came back, but this one here was everlasting. It was so long that he was in this state, and we wanted. Well, a lot of us, we question it in our heart, but we, why? How come? and all of this. So then we just had to say, this is Yahweh's way, you know. So, but he never came out. But
we've seen a lot of them. We've seen a lot of them that was dead that were walking around speaking well.
Right.
In our class. And still see them.
Yeah.
You'll see them. You know, it's just like just like talking to the moon. I said, what class did you sit in? I didn't hear that. I mean, what are you entertaining? You know. And one of them I talk to from time to time. He's going to tell me all the time that he's going to tell me how much Yahweh he is. I said, boy, you're lucky. You're lucky that you're not dead in front of me. So I'm gonna tell you. I said, I'm gonna tell you something. I said, now, you the worst of them all. I should be far away from you. I said, because Yahweh is gonna strike you any moment. I said, here you have sex with Glenn's wife, and you gonna come telling me she forced you into it, told you how much she knew that he didn't know, and how much what she was doing was appropriate. I said, how could you call the woman mother, and you got a mother? Do you have sex with your mother? No, you don't. Well, what caused you to have sex with her? Greed and stupidity and ignorance. So he said, well, Glenn said he forgave me. I said, but Glenn told you he forgave you, but he also told us a long time ago, and in your attention, that he may forgive you, but Yahweh don't have to. Now, which one you prefer to forgive you, Yahweh or Glenn? Although that they're the same person, I'm just saying. He said, I forgive you as a man, but Yahweh may not. I said, so you got some stuff that you got some begging to do, or repenting or whatever.
And on top of that, I don't think you learn anything from that. I don't think that knowledge comes that way.
It's very difficult, you know. Even like the one that the one that Jonathan sent out for us to look at. I'd seen it about 4 or 5 times before, but every time you look at them, I can't look at them back to back. I got to look at them in a distance, and I keep picking up pieces from here, there, all the way down the line. But the main thing that he was trying to get across to us is just as simple as pie, but the people can't quite understand it. There is no you in this equation.
Right.
There is you. This is all Yahweh. He said your body is not your own. It was paid for with a price. With a price. It wasn't the price of.
That's
it wasn't.
right.
Let me tell you, it wasn't the price of Yahweh Elohim. It wasn't. I mean, not that. It wasn't the Yahshua the Messiah. That wasn't the price he's talking about. When he took the body, took from spirit state and stepped into Yahweh Elohim, that was a sacrifice.
Big sacrifice.
That was the beginning of the sacrifice. And he brought it out for our consciousness in the Messiah. So he says, okay, Adam and Eve there's one entity. He says, you're Elohim. You're Elohim. So they can't take on stupidity in that position. You know what I'm saying? But this was what had to come about. And what Glenn said, that I think the one that Jonathan had, or either the one I saw before, he said, if we just could be what we're supposed to be, the next creation ought to have Satan. Whoa, Jack. That's what he said. And this is not the first, that's the last. He said, you don't have to, if you be what you're supposed to be, the satanic attributes don't have to take shape in the next creation. And that puts the responsibility on us, how we are, what we are about. How do we handle our little man? You know?
I want to say,
are you afraid of what Trump doing to the state? She said, are you afraid of what Trump doing to the country? I said, no, Yahweh's in charge. And if Yahweh bring that before my eyes, I have to look deep into our body to see what's going on.
Oh.
And when I talk to Tio, I get all of it brought to me. So I'm disappointed that he's not here, but I mean, I'm just saying he can tell me what they're doing. Tell me what they're saying. Now he look at it in a different eye than I do. I understand that, but I don't dislike him about it. I don't hate him about it. He's a brother. He just don't completely understand. And it's not that he don't have a mentality to understand. It's that Yahweh have not shoved him to the corner of the room and slammed him against the wall and told him this is who I am. And most people cannot get that.
Seemed like he did Paul. Seemed like he did Paul on the way to Damascus. We've all had that. We've all had that experience in one way or another, that Yahweh revealed Himself in us, which is a blessing. But I want to say this: every time, I'm always excited. There are other weekdays, but have you ever went to a restaurant that you really enjoyed yourself and you had a 7-course meal? You ever done that?
Yep.
This is the same way I look at our meeting together. And it's like, boy, that food taste, the deliciousness of that food keeps just going around in your memory. This is the same way. I mean, it brings me so much joy, our family, to be able to talk about Yahweh and His goodness and how He's working in our lives. It is, I'm telling you, it's unspeakable. I can't give a description with the words that we've got in the language, but it's like eating your favorite meal that you may have always remembered that tasted good. This is how this is. I just want to say that.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy always getting to meet with y'all, and the Zoom for Pasadena, Florida, because like you can go for such a long time talking to people who are just fighting you about it.
Yes.
And sometimes you get a little bit frustrated. Like I was talking with a group the other night, and it got down to 2 people, and the person started questioning me about the founder and the experience he had, and the how the vision started, and what did Yahweh tell him, and all this. And I mean, I'm sure y'all know, when you start talking about this to someone in the world, if they're interested, or even if they're trying to really break you down about it, it turns into a game of a million questions. Like, you could literally, it started with the founder having a vision and turned into, but you say everybody's Yahweh, and going into every scripture to prove it. And it's funny how much scripture Christians don't even know. Like, it's interesting, but the person started attacking me and belittling me because it gets to a point with Christians where they can't defend their points anymore. So it turns into trying to get the whole group or an entire group of people that's listening against you to paint you in a bad light. And the person was being conniving with their words. And I got frustrated enough where I said, I feel sorry for your new husband. I said, and it was like, oh, whoa. I said, you know what? I didn't have to be so rough with that. I said, but for real, I said, on a real note, I am sorry for anybody who's in a relationship and is willing to go to that level with somebody they don't know, because it just shows how they're going to go with their spouse at home, who they're right there next to. But I even sent the lady an apology. I said, look, I apologize. I didn't need to go that. I didn't need to go there. But yeah, it's a whole lot. It's a pleasure. It is pleasant. It is a gracious gift to be able to gather with those who know the same, who testify the same.
So
Yeah.
the scripture
If you said the scripture, it reminded me of when I listened to that man, the man that you said was had a vision. Say he had a vision of Revelation 10 years or 20 years before. I said, although I walk through the valley, not of death, I walk through the valley and accosted by unrighteous spirits and those that cannot see their way out of the woods, listening to their loud screaming, how righteous they are, all scripture that they can live on you, but you could see right through them like you look through a piece of plastic paper or clear glass. I said, I fear no. I know where I walk, but that is not my concern about walking through the valley. I said, I see the valley every day.
So that tiredness that we go through trying to explain to our brethren about the purpose of Yahweh, and then we left worn out. And one of the scriptures in Ephesians says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood." See, because we're in a spiritual warfare, but against principalities, those are demonic forces, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness. So we are desperate when we're laying down our lives, explaining the purpose of Yahweh, and we're being rejected, but we're not being rejected. They're rejecting Yahshua. They're rejecting Yahweh. And we're left in this physical body and saying, I feel like I've been in a fight because we're in a spiritual warfare.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because it's like someone wrestling against, someone fighting against, that don't get to me at all. Like,
exactly.
It doesn't get to me. Like, someone could be asking questions and rebutting, and I will just keep on going and going. And you want to ask questions? Well, I'm in the business of supplying answers, so you keep on asking. You keep asking. It's when a person doesn't get headway, they try to corrupt the entire group that's listening to make it sure that they don't want. It's weird because it's like I can't say, okay, that person, that's what's in their heart, and that is the plan that they are executing in their mind.
Right.
But that is what those demonic forces, that's what those adversarial demons want. They don't. If they can't beat you, they don't want nobody to listen to you. They don't want anybody to hear you out. And that's where it frustrated me. And that's where I had to humble myself and apologize to that woman, because we have the power to recognize beyond the person what that is. And you know, it's like if I'm going to preach hope, if I'm going to teach who they are, then I can't at the same time try to belittle a person in that manner. I can't try to point out flaws. Hey, I'm supposed to hold to pointing out that which shows them that they are Yahweh. And a flaw.
No, you were supposed to wake her up. You did. I'm sorry. It was something that needed to be said. And hey, you can apologize for it, but she needed to be woke.
Rita, it did. When I said it, it did calm the situation down and brought her back to asking about the gospel, because it kind of quieted. But at the same time, I still apologize for it. You know what I mean?
Yahweh forgive me, but sometimes, because sometimes, doggone well. Anyway, Dad just used to tell me all the time. He said, you just don't beat around the bush. You just want the right question and you want an answer. I don't want to hear all this garbage over here. He said, you just come to the point. And I had to realize that I was a little too forward a lot of times in questions and things that happened. But I think I got in a lot of trouble, a little bit of trouble for that. But anyway.
You're never too forward. What happens is that a man of righteousness would come out of their mouth as Yahweh is giving them the encouragement to do that. So let me give you an example. If we go down to 1040, we can go. Believe me, we can go. They will recognize us. They will start telling us how much they walked around with the founder when he was alive. I said, but that doesn't mean you learned anything. If you tell me that his beach was in 1931, you know nothing. You don't know nothing. And if you can't understand that you are the Holy Spirit standing before me, trying to convince me of a lie, you're in bad shape. Yeah. You're in very bad shape. And I used to tell people this way: when I go to 1040, they used to pass in front of me, suit just as nice, neat, and clean, brand new, but I see them elevating above the floor, going across like if they're not standing on the earth. I said, brother, this angel have taken wings. But anyway, but that's the way it is. Wrestling with them, they're going to wrestle with you. They're going to try to beat with their mouth. And they will attempt to beat you up with their physical body if you don't adhere to some of the commands that they're giving you. That tells you that they don't know. Look, man, when people used to come to our class and they didn't know they came, even deans came to a class, but they never let their body know that they came there. When you come to read last week at the station, you cannot expect them. You must understand that they just don't know. That's how that went. And you get tired of telling people, no, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. And some of them will listen, some of them won't. But they don't take the time to try to find out on their own. Just what they know. You don't know if you don't have it right. I'm willing to be chastised by any man, but he have to tell me what is right. He can't convince me about things that are wrong. And I feel sorry for him. It's just like walking. The Father said he see dead people all the time. Well, where you think he saw them at? He didn't see them out in the street. The father was an alcoholic. I said, so what? Are you alcoholic too? You was his buddy? What are you telling me? If the father was an alcoholic, he carried himself in a manner that nobody recognized, and probably another alcoholic. I tell you, clean yourself up.
Well, I've been and am so grateful for Yahweh sending me a brother like Jan, who we like. I bugged that man back to back to back to back. When he told me that ages and dispensation chart wasn't right, I made that man prove it with everything he had. Because I'm not just going to accept something because someone said it. Because if I accept something and I don't understand it, then I'm guilty of just accepting it without proving it. Like it makes you guilty, and it doesn't add to you. It doesn't help you grow, so to speak. It's like it's not metabolized. It's almost like it passed right through you, instead of it actually absorbing and giving that nutrition and causing growth. And I've told him over and over again, I said, that the one sign to me of a brother, and like this is what I saw in Dr. Vine too, was that a brother will give you his time. Like, no greater love does a man have than to lay his life down for his friend. Right. And that's not standing in front of a bullet. That is giving your time. That's your life. The time that Yahweh is giving you is that life. That's the life being lived. And for a man to lay down his life, to lay down everything he's got going, whatever he wants to do, whatever he's put his mind on, and to give you his time for the hopes of you coming to a greater understanding, or the understanding of Yahweh Elohim. That is a man laying down his life for you, and that is what I have recognized as a brother from the get-go, because that is what I recognized I was willing to do since Yahweh caused me to know the truth. That is something that is the biggest, like, inner push, you could say, like, not motivation, but like, drive. The biggest inner drive is to help others come to the truth, or to just give people what's been given to me, not to hide the candle under a bushel or under the bed, but to let your light shine. That's why my favorite song is "I'm gonna let it shine, yeah, I'm gonna let it shine." Yeah. like so recognizing that and who that is right within here is what allowed me to recognize that within anyone else, because when you know you're Yahweh and you know who Yahweh is, you recognize yourself in others, even in people who don't know themselves. You recognize who that is operating through that person. And so for any brother, like if I have a mistake, a brother is going to give all his time to make sure I'm rectified. As long as I'm coming with honesty and humility and coming and I want to know and I'm showing that, and that brother is going to just keep on giving. He is going to give every hour he has, which is even testified to Glenn and the founder. Like, them men had what? You could say 2-3 hours of sleep in each day because of how much people were coming, leaving 6 o'clock in the morning, got to be ready for this, that, and the other. You know they were only sleeping 3-4 hours a day, if that, maybe catching a nap during the day when nobody's, around, but like like in their free time, they barely had anything they could do personally but sleep, because all of their free time was educating and bringing others to the truth, giving others and laying down their life for what Yahweh had given them. And so when you see that sacrifice and you recognize it, you find family. You find your true family. Like if you're willing, if that's what's in you to do, and you see others who that's what's in them to do, you know who's in them. Like if you know these classes don't got nothing right, but you still go visit them, you still give them a hug, you still give them a kiss. Like when we were in Ohio, when we went to the Springfield branch, the first class or whatnot, I gave every single person in there a hug.
Good evening, everybody.
Like a
Dr.
big
Brian, can you hear me?
Like a big hug, So it was like that love. That love is what brings it all into reality. Hey Kim, I heard you just say something.
Can anybody hear me?
We can hear you, Kim.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, we hear you, Kim. We hear.
I'm not the only one with a bad mic.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
So
Kim,
Teresa,
can
did
you?
have classes?
Kim, can you hear me?
He
Kim?
went off. He went off.
Oh, okay. I'm on.
Teresa, did you have class this morning?
Yeah, Teresa was in Daytona this morning. She was, her daughter and then her were the first two speakers on the floor. Yeah, Naomi and then her. Yeah. You're on mute, Doc.
Yeah, I was saying very good. To have your daughter go with you, that's an honor. My kids went, but as they got older, the husbands usually get their way. So,
Yeah.
But they're still supposed to be. It's supposed to be. That's how that goes.
Good evening, everybody. Can y'all hear me?
Good evening, Kim. We can hear you.
Peace and happiness to all y'all. I'm having a little trouble staying connected. But anyway, I just wanted to say hello while I had a chance. That's all. Good to see everybody.
We're fine. Welcome.
Not to interrupt the subject, Bob, but did y'all see all those people walk out at the UN General Assembly on Netanyahu? I was pointing out that's not no light thing, and the news media is playing it down. But do y'all realize how significant that is for everybody to walk out? It's like that's the world turning against the United States, and people don't even realize it, bro.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Well, anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to change the subject, but that's just something that's out on my mind.
Good. Turn they back on them fake Jews. It's funny. I've pointed out to people and other things. Yahweh prophesied that because they disobeyed, and this is before the cross, right? That because they disobeyed him, that he would scatter them amongst the nations and send a sword after them till they were all devoured. So there was no blood lineage of them 12 tribes left because of what they did, that disobedience, right?
Right. That any acknowledgement to the outward circumcised is saying that Pentecost has not occurred. Yahshua
No.
That's
I'm
saying that.
I'm pointing out why those fake Jews always seem to have a sword after them, because they're trying to take upon the identity of a people that's been devoured. So of course, if they try to even pretend that identity, devouring's going to be seeking them.
Right. Yeah. They're not what they claim to be. You're right. And my point is, just like Jerusalem is spiritual, the Jew is circumcised outwardly, and that's the way it is. And they claim an outward circumcision, Netanyahu and all those people, and it's just a testament against them. They're saying that the Holy Spirit has not been poured out.
Mm-hmm.
Kim,
still doing it.
Kim, one of the things that the founder taught all of us, and Glenn did also, and you can't keep talking about a man's circumcision. Everybody's not circumcised. Every Jew is not circumcised.
Right.
But they don't go by your fleshly body parts. They go by, have you been circumcised in your brain to understand the truth with the spirit? That's what he's talking about. The founder said like this: they don't believe that they're not real Jews because they just don't believe that the Messiah was who he was.
Right. They say that.
And it's just that simple. Have nothing to do with circumcision.
Right.
And circumcision was a law that was given and it was fulfilled by the Messiah. But the circumcision of your brain, that's the one he's after. Get that nastiness out of your brain, and then you don't have no problem. None whatsoever.
Right.
Now you're ready to receive.
You're right. You're right. It's a spiritual circumcision, and it's spoken of in Acts 2:28. It says specifically about he is not a Jew. It says it was not a Jew in 28, and in 29 it said what is a Jew. Mm-hmm. And that's the goal, to recognize the inward circumcision, not to acknowledge the outward circumcised in any way whatsoever, because it is a physical work. It is a physical work. It is an ordinance of the Mosaic law. And we are not under ordinances.
Whenever we say something about a regular Jew, a Hebrew, we know better than the man that decided this is the way it goes. This is the way the man said in the South, where you are. He said, first a Jew, when they want to kill somebody, they're going to kill a Jew first. and then they're going to kill the Negroes or the niggers second. And next come the dogs and cats. They took up the Asians and the Mexicans came last. That was their law a long time ago. They had a sign on the lawn. Said, Jews, niggas, and dogs, don't walk on this grass. Mm-hmm. But the thing is this: Yahweh is giving up you a group of people, a nation of people, to be as an example for how you're not supposed to be. That's what he's doing. So you cannot hold anything against him. The founder said you have to take this doctrine back to the Jews. How are you going to do that?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Oh, but Shelley, he's coming.
Shelley, he's
coming in loud and clear everywhere else.
Can you hear us, Shelley?
Can you hear me?
I can't hear.
Okay.
But the founder said you have to take this back to the Hebrews. Now,
Jonathan,
if I could find one to talk to, I'm ready to do that. But the thing is,
I can hear you. Yes.
You can't hear.
I can hear you.
Okay, well, I'm watching because I can't hear.
All right, and Dr. Vine, I hear every word you're saying, so don't think you're talking for nothing. And listen, I apologize. I don't mean to be beating the same bush, but like I said, I saw the video of the people walking out of the UN. Well, all I'm pointing out is that that's not a light thing, man. Something. I mean, that's an indication of things going real bad, in other words. But that's all. I don't want to dwell on that, my friend.
Remember the people that walked out of the United Nations, they're the ones sold us into slavery to come to the United States. They're the ones had the people round us up with chains and everything else. So you can't talk about them being any more special than But what Yahweh said this is what you got to pay attention to. Forget about all that other mess. They were asked. They asked Yahweh, anybody, when they were going into the Holy Land, should we drive the people out? He said, no, you go in there with them. Don't drive anybody out of there. And they're driving them out. So they have broken Yahweh's law, not another man's law. So that's what we're dealing with.
True.
I hear you, Chief, but it gets real deep with Netanyahu and all that's going on. So, yeah, Like I explained, there's a spiritual significance. The spiritual significance first. And that's the reality of the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it denies the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. It says Yahshua is not formed in you to acknowledge. Well, anyway, that's the number one issue, and it's important that nobody believe that. And I mean, believe that they are the chosen people. They're not. And secondly, that's a religious point of view first. Secondly, from the political point of view, you can see that it's an implanted idea that those people are the actual descendants of Israel, and they're the chosen people of the Bible, and we're supposed to acknowledge that. I was telling somebody that today. See, we don't acknowledge Peter being buried underneath St. Peter's Cathedral. We know that that's they took that scripture physically so. So just like it's wrong to claim Peter, it is also wrong to claim physical Israel in a spiritual age. See, we're in a law of the spirit, but they saying no. Law, physical law, Moses' law, we're still going to sacrifice. So that's my main point. Number one, from a religious standpoint, you must point out that they're not the chosen people, and acknowledgement is in opposition to the Pentecost. And secondly, from a political point of view, it's not right for them to do what they're doing, and the fact that somebody acknowledges them because they are the chosen. And realize that I told you that before. If anybody call them the chosen of God or the chosen of Yahweh, you know what you just did? You denied yourself, and that's.
Well, we're all chosen of Yahweh in that He's wearing all of these bodies. And the other thing is, why are we even dealing with a religious point of view when we are not affiliated with any religious doctrine?
That's right.
They say they're the chosen of God.
That's not what they say.
Religious organization. So why I don't have to deal with them on that level.
Shelley, they say that they're the chosen, and you're not. Shelley, you understand? They're saying you are not the chosen. That's what their philosophy is saying.
It don't matter. We talking about
junk. But that's ignorance, and I don't have to deal with that because I know that I'm Yahweh. I'm not dealing with the man in that aspect.
Right.
And I'm not. I'm in the earth, but I'm not of the earth.
Thank you.
Yes. Here's an aspect, Kim, to look at with the UN turning their back on Netanyahu and all the significance behind that. As we know, when the founder received the vision revelation, he pointed out when conspiracy theorists and people talk about they are in control, and those that are in control, and this secret group that's in control and controlling all these different things, the founder pointed that out to be the Roman Catholic Church. Period. He pointed that out to be the body that was used by the adversary to do all this dastardly stuff that's going on. He pointed out to being the dragon and who could make war with the beast, and the people fell down and worshiped the beast. And that's the Roman Catholic Church. Well, going through the Roman Catholic Church history, you find out that the group of people that are actually modern day Ukraine, that place in Europe was historically back in like the 1300s, 1100s, was the Khazarian Empire. The Roman Catholic Church conquered the Khazars. The Khazars were known as a people back then as being called the name stealers. They stole identities of people, and they were like jokesters, did it for stupid reasons, caused conflict amongst nations. The Roman Catholic Church, when they conquered them, gave them the choice to choose one of the three Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Islam, or Christianity, to be their identity. This people chose Judaism. The Roman Catholic Pope at the time forged documents to give them a historical claim of being Jews that had left after the Roman persecution and traveled into Europe. This is historical documents you can track down and trace to find out. So the Roman Catholic Church set up this fake identity, this fake Jewish, Ukrainian, European people, set them up to be this proclaimed nation, let alone set up the Zionist movement, which aimed to find Israel a place to call their own, which at one point they looked at the Philippines, they looked at South America, they looked at Ukraine before going all the way and dealing with Israel in the early 19-something when John D. Rockefeller and another person came up with the Balfour Declaration, where the British-controlled area of Palestine was signed over after World War II to allow these people to move in, and the document was in the 20s. But all of this can be tracked through the Roman Catholic Church. So if we see that these now people have been used to claim some type of chosen identity and do this stuff, and even the founder wrote about it in the textbook. People write the term Zionist today as Z-I-O-N-I-S-T. The founder wrote it in the textbook as S-I-O-N, the original way you spell Zion, S-I-O-N. He spelled it Zionists. And he talks about them in the textbook about wanting to rebuild a third temple. Now, knowing that the adversary is what was gearing the Roman Catholic Church, it's the same thing of trying to rebuild a temple and sit within a physical temple to declare itself as Elohim. Same thing. So if we see the world turning its back on this group of people who are used to do that, and we see all these moves against all this, does it not look more like what we know to be that this whole thing goes out in peace? Does it not look like those people, the groups that have been America? Like you look at the American flag with the eagle and all these are all Roman symbols. This is like you seeing Rome being carried through all the way through. These nations that were set up by the Roman Catholic Church and whatnot use Roman symbols to show themselves in secret what they really are.
But what they've done, all of it is just a perversion of the truth. Just like you say, Yahweh don't have two sons. He only got the one son, and that one son he ain't got because he is that. But when you talk about a two sons, anything opposite of the truth is a perversion, and that's what you're dealing with. Are you talking about out there in the world? That is not an interest of mine anymore. My interest is to help you find and know Yahweh as He really is and actually exists in you. Because once you find that out, then all this stuff that you're talking about are the perversions of the truth you're looking at in the world will cease to affect you in any manner. Because you know it's got to play itself out. That's that same stuff that rose up with Lucifer, you know, and those angels having been cast out, you know, and they cast themselves out by their own manifestation of denial of the truth. Or wanting to be against Yahweh. How you going to be like what you already are? That didn't make no sense to Yahweh.
And
they cast them all self out. Yahweh didn't cast them out, and Yahweh didn't make no adversary. He didn't make Lucifer to raise up. And none of us was created or made to be that way.
Thank you.
You know, Adam and Eve didn't make but two children. Something to start with two children, and all of those children are where we came from. We all came from the same source, which is Yahweh in a body, not a color of your skin, not what you practice and what you behave. So when you cannot take hate against anybody and expect it for Yahweh to accept you in the kingdom, it will not happen. It will not happen. You must see them as yourself.
And we know
that cast out because, let me say, they were cast out after being let back in because Yahweh told them, don't go up in there glory or giving glory to no graven images. And they went right on back to worshiping something that could not even give them life.
Right.
And that was why Yahweh cast them out or took the land away, you know, and allowed them to be persecuted. Because you wasn't worshiping Him, and that was the whole purpose of Him taking you back, was that you might give honor and glory to Yahweh. That was why you was in the wilderness, so that you could give honor and glory to Yahweh. He freed you, brought you out of Egypt, for that same reason. Right now, he freed you from those things of the world right within yourself. Why? So that you can give honor and glory to Yahweh alone in you, who is the boss. Now, why are you fooling around with that? Because that don't bring you peace. That just gives you a reason to want to argue with your brother about something that ain't even worth a damn.
And we know that the things that happen in the class, the things that happen in the world happen first in the class. Do we not have a body down in that to be the true spiritual Jews walking the earth, and that they are the chosen ones, and that they bear the truth that everybody needs to follow, and have not all the classes around turn their backs on them, but a few? So is that not shown first in the class and then shown in the world, where the UN and all the people are turning them backs on them ones that try to say they're the chosen ones? We got an instance of it happening in class first before it even happened in the world.
You're right, bro. I got you, man. And I'll bring it up. The reason I bring it up is there's edification and seeing the physical manifestation in the spirit reality, and that's what's happening. They claim to be the physical Jews, but it's pointing to the spiritual Jew.
But you're wasting time talking about junk. You're wasting time talking about junk.
That's not.
You don't listen. You don't listen. You don't listen. You don't listen.
It's just spiritual Jerusalem.
You keep talking about mess. Didn't we say we all are the same? We came from the same source? Shelley just got through reading it. About it. We are all Yahweh in the body. Even them, they're Yahweh in the body. There's no separation. And if you carry that, Yahweh will send your butt to the lake in a hurry. And I'm telling you, walk in the tree that you should let go of.
She asked why we talk about it, and like I say, there's the edification of understanding the physical to the spiritual, and when you understand Jerusalem above, you don't acknowledge Jerusalem below. Well, anyway.
Well, notice you're losing sight. You're losing sight that this age was opened up with the spiritual. When Messiah gave up the ghost on that cross, that got rid of anything physical. Now, why are you dragging it over into this age? Because this age is the opening, or it is the divine vision and revelation. That's where you're in right now. You're a partaker of the divine vision and revelation. Hopefully the revelation, because the revelation is an understanding.
I think you just accused me of what you're doing is bringing something in the next age, in this age that doesn't belong. And that's why we're talking about this. But one more physical to spiritual I'd like to make. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Is that talking about the nation that you are?
You're talking about something under the law, correct?
Is that talking about the nation of Israel that you are a member of, or is that talking about the nation of Israel that's led by Netanyahu?
There is no nation of Israel led by Netanyahu. It's a fake thing. So I don't even grant them, that. But sake of conversation, you can talk with people in the world and talk about Israel and Netanyahu and things like that. But even then, why even talk about or waste your time talking about those things with somebody when you have such great a spiritual gift and such greater words and topics to talk about? Then, you know what I mean?
Jonathan, because you're bringing them from the physical to the spiritual, and that's what I'm saying.
Are you able to transfigurate and talk to those people? Because if you're not in a position to be able to do that, or you do it, but you're not aware. So are you actually aware to do that? Because if you can do that, do that.
I do it the way
Set your affections on heavenly things and
I do it the way it was taught to me. It's physical.
The way the founder would show up at somebody's house and he'd still be at home. That's what I'm talking about. Why not execute or resurrect that power in you? Why you keep fooling around with something that does not give life? because what you're talking about is in a dead state where it's not going to cause anybody to be inspired or recognize who they are. We're about now in this late day and age is causing you to see the power in being Yahweh. That's where you want to be. You don't want to be fooling around with that. It's too late in the date for fooling around with that stuff. You want to join yourself unto the one Elohim that is the one that showed up on the day of Pentecost.
I will say too, when I have spoken to quite a bit of Jews about the vision of Revelation. Those who profess themselves to be Jews and of physical Hebrew heritage. To the point, Dr. Vine, I'm sure you remember Elior. That man is claimed he holds the identity of being a physical Jew. He had me have calls with his rabbi, and because his rabbi could not answer the things according to the vision of Revelation, he saw through that his rabbi did not have the answers, and he let that man go. He put me as a moderator on his Discord server that has over 1,500 Jews on it, where I talk to many Jews, where I've had voice chats of many Jews about the vision of Revelation. And I do not go into the conversation trying to tell them that they aren't who they think they are.
Yeah,
I do go into that, but in the sense that you're not the man you think you are, you're Yahweh. And teach them according to the Abrahamic promise, which they're familiar with. The things with Moses on Mount Sinai, which they're familiar with. Even though I know that they are not true Hebrews, even though I know that bloodline does not exist anymore, that's not what I bring up with them to bring them and cause a resurrection within them. Because all I would do is cause death and cause them to push away the vision, revelation, and the hand of life being given to them.
That's right.
I understand. Yeah, and everybody has their approach, my friend. And
No, they don't. Everybody don't have their own approach. They don't have it. If you don't have the approach of Yahweh, you don't have nothing. And let me tell you, when you despise another nation, you're despising him. That's how simple it is.
By his purpose.
He's the one that's in them. He's the one that caused their movement and their being. Now they have taken on some bad habits on their way. But it's your job to explain to them, just like Jonathan told you, how to get themselves right. Not as a nation, but as Yahweh in a body.
Yeah.
And we're in the present kingdom age. We're in the age of grace, brother.
Right.
We're on the rooftop where we're supposed to be, and don't come down for nothing. That's where we are.
Spiritual circumcision.
Spiritual body, physical body. Nobody have a war with that. You keep bringing that up. That's dead works. With one body, Yahweh only have one body, and it's Him.
I only
Even
brought
the
it
one
up.
that's a murderer have Yahweh in him.
I was trying to break the ice, and I only brought it up today because it was, like I said, it was a hot topic. I didn't mean to kick off so much, but anyway, like I said, is them walking out at the UN. Dr. Kennedy said, look for signs, look for reflections in the earth plane. And I know we got October 10th coming up, but anyway, to me,
that's what you're preaching.
Is there not enough?
Won't give it up for nothing.
Haven't you seen enough signs to convince you where you ought to be?
Those
are things that the founder addressed when you first coming into class and you still trying to figure out, is this the place to be? You should know where the place to be is now. Those things you don't need to fool with. You need to be fooling with your spiritual understanding.
It's a reflection in the earth plane, not a sign. It's a reflection in the earth plane, and they do not cease.
All I'm concerned with is what you should be concerned with, and that's your spiritual understanding.
That's right.
Where are you in the plan of Yahweh?
Right.
How can you help anybody? Because talking about that stuff is not going to give anybody life eternal. Is no good. In matter of fact, it's no good to you.
I have taken part in conversations where this is literally the conversation and they do not have the understanding we have, and it goes, I'm not joking, for days, and everybody is seething, angry, yelling, all this. Oh, how could you say they're not the chosen? And they're fighting, oh, they're not the chosen, they are the chosen, they're not, and going back and forth, and seething, mad about it. And you're seeing people who claim to be Christians cussing each other out about it and all that. And you're like, it does nothing.
Go.
Right? It does nothing.
Let it go. Because
All right. Yeah,
we don't gather together to continue in that.
Yeah,
we come here to.
Thank you.
I hope y'all can get back to your original conversation, Joshua and the Messiah. That's
we hope that one day you can actually join in as being one. That's our goal, is to get you to see, because right now you don't see that you're Yahweh. And that's my prayer, is that, and that's what I strive for when we come together, is to make sure we're all on the same page, that we all know and understand the divine purpose in which we have committed ourselves to. And I don't mean as people, as the boss himself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Hallelujah.
You know?
When we told to have the mind of Yahshua Messiah, we're told to have that mind that we're in the world, but we're not of it.
Yes.
Right.
There.
And then when you look at it, ain't nothing going on but what Yahweh manifests himself in every aspect of the show. It's like a movie.
That's right.
He's the director, he's the actor, he's the writer, he's the Alpha and Omega. Your mind elevation to be on who you are and who you can possibly talk to get them to see that. All this other stuff that's going on ain't nothing.
Right.
And the founder, as well as I said, that with the chaos that's going on in the world is the same chaos that starts in our school first.
But remember, the world is the man. That's going on in them, not in me. Heaven reigns.
Not in me.
I'm in heaven on earth.
Right.
And willing to cause you to come here. Come there.
We're not angry with you, Kim. We're trying to push it in you to wake up. You're not woke, brother. The founder said he see dead people all the time, and you talking like a dead man.
Now you want
Yahweh.
to talk about something that Crockett, that Jasmine Crockett, whom Yahweh has permitted to draw out the truth and facts on all of them Jews that you talking about, because all the ones, them kingdoms, them mountains, she been bringing them down with the truth and the fact, and that's all she dwells on is truth and fact. And they've been tumbling, falling over each other, coming down. And Jews, they're Jews. Because they're the ones that running everything and running it in the ground and running it wrong. And Yahweh has permitted, again, out of the darkness shall shine forth the light.
Hallelujah. Yep.
And the only thing that we are trying to do, Kim, is to let you know that that's who you are. You're Yahweh.
Right.
That's
all. He says, you're Yahweh. And we've never wanted to attack you, and that's who you are.
The other man too, Yahweh.
Thank you. I agree with you, and like I said, I'm only trying to point out Jerusalem above. Like I said, many went into the holy city. I'm just pointing out that's where we at, the holy city, Jerusalem above. The baptism of fire. We switched from the physical and at Pentecost, and we went to the spiritual, y'all. And like I said, Dr. Kelly said, look for reflections in the earth plane. To me, the people walking out of there is a gigantic news event. And when you talk about reflections, that is one to me. And that's why I generally brought it up, because it's kind of like he said, when you hear wars and rumors of wars, see that you be not concerned. Well, no, don't become not concerned, but I see the desire. I have a desire to point it out, especially when those people around me have.
What's a reflection of, Kim?
They're walking around with their eyes wide shut in regards to, thinking that those.
You can't help those people until you help yourself, because you need to see that you are Yahweh alone, standing in this earth plane.
Hallelujah.
in this realm of eternity and spirit, because we never got out of spirit.
Right.
And Yahweh, don't forget, he produced the cloud and spirit itself. None of that is co-eternal with him. That's why I'm trying to get you to see who you are.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You know, before Yahweh gave himself a name, he just is. An almighty, self-existing deity.
Who I am
omnipotent, omnipresent, you know, an all-powerful, all-knowing. That is what he is.
Joshua putting it in me to point out the contradictions of spirit, and those people over there are great contradictions.
When you say Joshua, clarify that for me, please.
Those people are contradictions
so that
to
I can make sure. No. When you say Joshua, tell me exactly the Joshua that you speak of.
The spirit being. I'm not following you exactly, but that spirit being Yahshua is putting it in me to make the comparison of the physical to the spiritual, and that's my motivation. And it is truly to me it's wonderful.
When you say, see, I guess I'm getting lost, because when you say Yahshua, I see Elohim. That same Elohim, which is Yahweh, which is already in you, not putting nothing in you, because the moment you was born and pressed the loins of your mother, he gave you everything you needed in this life. And that was resurrected in you, fully conscious. So that was the Yahshua. So there was no need for anything to be added, because you already had it.
They have it.
Now, in your growing, you lost it or lost consciousness of it. But this gospel was to bring that back to you. So, and if it had, and you were on the housetop, you wouldn't be saying Yahshua putting anything in you. No, he can open it up in you, but he's in you already. Not only is he in you, but he is in everything that you see and don't see, that you acknowledge and don't acknowledge.
To me, he's in me saying, make the comparison of the contradictions to spirit, and that's what those things are. When I bring those things up, they are contradictions to the spirit reality or to spirit law. And like I said, I see edification in that, Mom, and I appreciate y'all. Y'all know I don't have no ill feelings, just like y'all don't have to me.
What's the reflection you see with them?
I'm sorry.
Gospel.
Say that again, Jonathan.
What's the reflection that you see with the Jews? What do they point out to you spiritually today? Not the reflection of before the cross and what was revealed at Pentecost, but 2,000 years later. What are they showing you today? What do you see? I'm just curious.
That's it. You said it. You said something else besides the contradiction, besides denying the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. That is the main motivation. That is number one, 100%. That is the reason why. That is a act that denies that Yahshua is come in the flesh or in your flesh, number one. And it denies the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, and it makes you post-Diluvian or under the Mosaic law, and that's the reason he came in, to take everybody from underneath that law. And it's purely a revelation that makes you see that. So after the revelation, you say, oh, spiritual Jerusalem. Oh, not water, it's fire now. Oh, I'm not going to wash somebody's feet, because that was typifying talking about washing of the soul. That happened at Pentecost.
But Kim, that's a reflection if you're a Christian. If you're Christian, that's the reflection you would see in the Jews today. But what about you who have the understanding of Yahweh? What's the reflection that you see in the Jews today?
They are a deceiving principle. The same way that they say Peter's body is underneath St. Peter's Cathedral, in like manner, the Jews are lying and say they're the chosen people. And you see, just like there's no benefit in believing Peter is underneath St. Peter's in Rome, there's no salvation in supporting or acknowledging that those people are Jews. I know y'all gonna say that y'all don't. All right, I know.
No, but you said.
What should you not? you should see them as a reflection of headquarters.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Yes.
Wait.
That is true. That is true.
Let me ask you one more time so I can hear again. You said that Yahweh or Yahshua in you told you what?
To show the comparison of the spiritual reality.
Okay. Look. Now see that Yahweh would not tell you that, because
Correct.
when he wants you to know something, you are willed by his will to know it. And you don't have to search and look for nothing. I mean, whenever I wanted to know something or didn't want to know, I mean, at times I didn't even care to know that I didn't want to know, that he brought it to my attention. And not only did he bring it to my attention, he fulfilled every aspect of anything anybody else might ask about it. I knew it. That was the revelation. Not only did he give me a question, he answered it and gave me the revelation of it to understand it. So I don't see him asking you to do something that he would not supply you with the full scope of it.
Right.
You know what?
Hey, man, let me say something right quick. And I agree with you, man. With what's going on in Los Angeles is like the same thing with Trump in the United States. That's the same thing going on in Los Angeles with the over-exaltation of Dr. Kinley. And what else I want to say, y'all? I got to make a run to the store before it gets too late. And I hate to cut off.
One thing before you go, remember what Yahshua Messiah said. He said he left a comforter with you when he at his death, burial, and resurrection. And that comforter was what? The Holy Spirit that's already in you. He said he left
Yahshua.
Which is Yahweh.
It's comforting to know that the circumcision is inward and not outward. And those people claim that, and that's a contradiction to the law of the Spirit, and we're not having it. I'm sorry, I am not having it.
Right, because why does it affect you? That's the dazzling part to me, is dumbfounding. Because why would you care being Yahweh? Why would you care?
Some people make the statement as though we support them, and that is so far from the truth.
But if you know that you don't, why would
that's a doctrine
care?
That's a doctrine that has been placed in our mind that those people are actually Jews, and I'm telling you, it is contradicting to spirit law.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. I'm going to touch on this, Kim.
It's a load of crap.
He said, "Be in the world, but not of it." And then also said, "Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar." Now he's talking about the function of this world or principalities, which are demonic. Now Dr. Killing said what? He said, "Watch the news." But you know what we forget? The good news that was preached by the gospel or the divine vision revelation has been corrupted. That's the news to watch. See?
Right.
That's the good news.
Not what's in the world. The news Dr. Killing wanted us to watch. What's the news that's in class? What's happening in there? How the classes are now converted to a damnable doctrine.
Right, it is.
You better be able to tell the difference between the truth and what? A lie. You can't do that watching the world. You can't do that watching about the Jews. See?
Right.
Yeah,
that news that you're watching is a news when you see your brethren going astray. Look at that news. See what you can do to preach to him about who they are in a physical body. That's the news you should be watching. All this other stuff is happening like that.
My heart isn't even troubled over no physical Jews, over this thing, over the United States president, over all the U.S. generals being summoned to D.C. next week, which has never happened. I ain't concerned with any of that stuff. What gets me, look, when I'm talking to people in the world, and I talk to hundreds, thousands of people, when I talk to them, it isn't fake Jews that get in the way of them seeing this vision revelation. It isn't the Christian doctrine. I can defeat all that. What has really upset me and what has corrupted people when you go out, compared to like when y'all came into class, okay? When y'all came into class, there wasn't no damn YouTube group that was blasting out about all the heresies that LA and them people taught that corrupted those people that had a heart that wanted to come into class, that felt prey to all that deception, that now they're putting stuff out about the founder and all this stuff, which is a whole lot harder to get past when you start talking the vision of Revelation to people and they actually get interested, and then they go look up Henry Clifford Kinley for themselves, and now you got to rectify all the damnable doctrine that was taught in the class with them to see if they even want to keep hanging on. Before, all you had to do was tell them about Roman Catholic Church and how Christianity wasn't true. All you had to do was knock down those religions. Now there's a whole bunch of bullshit information about the founder, which has come up due to the lies. The 1996 world's going to end, 2001 world's going to end, all this stuff that they taught is now out there for all the people in the world to see. So I don't give a shit about no fake Jews, no all this other damnable stuff. I am more concerned what is going on right now within our own body. Because what's going on within our own body is what is doing everything else. And then the most important, right there with you and where you sit, as Shelley keeps pointing out, is the most important place for you to watch the news. The news that's passing before your own mind. Take a step back from all those thoughts that are going on in yourself and recognize what is actually causing those distractions to come your way and get you off the focus that you are Yahweh.
Right. You got a point, Chief. Everybody, y'all have a good night, and y'all can join on the upper room conference call if y'all like. But peace and happiness to y'all. Got to go run to the store, get me some water. But anyway,
we are in the upper room.
Thank you.
Upper room.
Okay, guys. So the conclave for IDMR is going on here in Los Angeles now. Am I right?
Yes.
A year from
now. Next year.
Oh, it's going to be next year?
Yeah.
Next year,
July shows you how much I'm concerned about it. But what I'm saying is that, so what you're saying to me is that they're on YouTube and KitKat or whatever, the TikTok and all of that?
No. Anybody who still holds an IDMR title and pays their dues, headquarters has banned any of the classes from putting themselves on YouTube. The only classes that you see on YouTube are classes who have separated themselves from IDMR. Because IDMR headquarters put a thing out saying that if you put yourself on YouTube, we will let you go. Like, we will not associate, you will not be a part of us anymore. And it's, yeah. And so that's the thing. But like I was telling Dr. Vine at the start, technically Shelley is the only, Gary too. Technically, you and Gary are the only ones on this call right now who could go to the General Assembly, because my uncle had a talk with Keith Gilkey, and Keith Gilkey said only past or current members. You could have been a member 30 years ago, but you have to have had been or currently be a member of IDMR itself.
Well, I have Bernard, you and I... Wait a minute, Bernard, you and I are not members?
No, that's not true.
Members of PIDMR.
I haven't been in class.
This is how it goes. When our school first started, Shelley, you remember?
And I don't pay dues.
The guy that came from 1040 that helped Glenn at the beginning was also sharing, I think, maybe fees or something with the group down in Florida. In not Florida, but in Los Angeles, when we first started our class, very first started, and Glenn was the one that said we got to separate ourselves from him because the founder said, you're supposed to be independent. But before that, they shared stuff.
Self-sufficient. That's where self-sufficient, but not in every class should be self-sufficient.
Right.
That's what whatever your bylaws, whatever you needed, you ought to, it should be contained within your class, but yet you were still part of the IDMR, but Pasadena made them put Pasadena in front of the IDMR to distinguish that school from the LA school, though it was still a branch from the home school, but they had their own way of doing it. But yeah, we were all to be not independent of each other, but self-sufficient within our own bodies, a branch. Right, Bernard?
Yeah, that's the way it operated at the very beginning. So when Rita and Shelley and myself was there, at the very beginning, we were all of IDMR, but we were Pasadena IDMR. But
right.
Then we stopped paying them money, giving them the dues and stuff.
Right.
And to know where's your dues? And then Glenn said, we're not paying any dues to you. We are independent of you, and that's how that went.
Last time I've been in classes in 2000 in a physical building.
Yeah, they said whether you haven't been in class in 40 years, 50 years, if you were a registered member with IDMR, then you're welcome to come to the General Assembly.
I don't know if I'm registered.
We were bad.
Well, my uncle was asking him. I didn't know, but my uncle was asking him on behalf of me because I'm not a registered IDMR member. I've only ever signed a visitor sheet a couple times when I came. And it's funny, too. Every time I sign that visitor sheet and where it says, it asks you who invited you, I always put Yahweh Elohim Yahshua.
That's true.
Hello.
And I remember one of the times I went down to L.A. because they read out the visitors and they ask you, they acknowledge the visitors and they say who called you. One time they went to read it, and when it came to the point of reading who sent you, right? They said, well, everybody knows Yahweh invited us all here. And that was...
I must apologize of my behavior, but I was tired.
Oh, my goodness. Don't you dare apologize. Excuse me. We've heard this stuff. This man has got this mantra in his head. We have tried every doggone time to tell him. We've sold 500 different ways to do it. But, when I said it to him, he would say, well, no disrespect, Miss Rita, but... So, Renard, and no matter what you said, it was no disrespect, Renard, but...
And then have nerve enough to invite us to hell.
Right. and Shelley said it, and in his mind, it was no disrespect to you, Miss Shelley, but... the Jews, the circumcision, and the circumcision of the circumcision that's been circumcised before it was circumcised into the circumcision that is the circumcision. Okay?
I'm
not laughing at him, but I'm just saying.
Hopefully he'll turn around. This visit was not about. This visit wasn't about him just appearing to say that, as he said before. This is what's going on with Jonathan and Cooper. That's all this is about. Because he's going to go back and say, well, I saw Jonathan and Cooper on there talking. That's all this was about. This was
I have gone on the other conference call many a times after Kim has been on here, and I have to point out that I have never heard Kim bring up this group as the point of contention. But I have heard him bring up the same points to try to get what they're saying about it. But I have never heard a dog down.
You're not going to.
I know there's background conversation, Gary.
That's what I'm talking about.
You were in the midst. Right. I'm well aware, Gary.
Okay.
I'm well aware. I'm well aware.
Well, I can say he never called me, and I think he knew Yahweh kept him obeyed, because everybody else that he's ever pretty much talked to or said something to and thought he might offended them, he called them later, but he never, ever dialed my number.
Exactly.
He's never dialed me, so.
But you never went on, Rita.
Oh,
I'm
no.
I'm talking about on that other class.
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
But I'm talking about the one that runs it. I know people that he offended, or thought he offended. He would, after a day or so, call those people at home privately and talk. But he never He had never addressed me. He called Renard one time.
But this is the heart of hope. I'll share this. I haven't shared this, but because I don't try to share things that hit me a certain way with certain individuals because I don't want them to feel a certain way about me feeling a certain way. You get what I'm saying?
I understand.
When me and Brittany went through one of our first miscarriage. Our first miscarriage, we have a greater foundation to deal with things like that. Where we have to we have that position where we can take a leg and be there as a strong support for others. And even though like I didn't shed a tear, I held that strength for my wife and brought her flowers and all that. But of course when I walked out into the lobby, I cried. I cried. But you know what I mean? I cried. I about fell to my knees and sobbed my eyes out.
Affection.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like it makes me kind of want to cry. But like when I was out getting flowers for my wife and getting her something to eat, Kim had called me. He had called me from a prior conversation, and we were having a little chat. He had to get some groceries, and he told me he'd call me back. And him calling me, and the idea he was going to call me back, and just having a talk with a brother, it brought me comfort. He didn't call me back after he left the grocery store, and there are people who would take that and be like, well, I ain't talking to that person again. You want to be fake with me on a certain type, all this other stuff. I don't care about any of that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to let any kind of thing or any kind of way someone wants to be with themselves at that moment to drop the looking for hope for it. That's why when he brings up the Jew thing, I'm more interested in it's like, well, why is it always on your mind? Like, what is it that you're seeing from it that makes you think it's necessary to bring up? Because obviously it's not something true, because you wouldn't be bringing it up like that if the reason you even looked at it was through a lens of truth. So it's like, that's why, look at L.A. Like, if you really want to look at the Jews and the what they identify, what they represent, look at L.A.
Okay, Jonathan, listen to this. Listen to this. Bernard was down there with his family reunion, and he spoke and met, am I right, with Kim?
Mm-hmm.
He did. And he was telling him the truth and all of this here. And Kim comes back here again and do the same thing. Not that I'm saying. The man was down there, and he what do you call it when you meet with one another on a brother says, I can't think of the words right now, but Yahweh will give it to me. But he fellowshiped with him, and he still has not accepted somewhere in his heart that he's Yahweh, and that he's not of this world. He cannot accept that.
That's what you call a little autism going on. That's some spiritual autism. I'm serious. You looked up on a certain point. We have to realize, I was just telling somebody else the other day, I said, you know how the world now is trying to force you to accept this gay and lesbian thing, but remember, Lucifer was the bride of Yahweh, and when he fell, and all those that fell with him, they were bride too. So now that was where you got that lesbian gay crap started, right there. Because they were all the bride of Yahweh. Now they have become lovers of themselves and of each other. That's why you had the stuff down there in Sodom and Gomorrah, like that. It wasn't about they were worshiping Yahweh, And I ain't to say, no, I don't hate gays or lesbians, but I consider it to be illness. Because something ain't right in your mind. It's just like autism. Something ain't straight up.
Yep.
You've lost sight of who you are. Just like Jonathan mentioned, the guy talking about his mom last week and Eve. Well, hell, he's a bride. I mean, how do you gonna? It doesn't matter what your gender is. We, being many, make up the bride of Yahweh, and Yahweh Elohim is the bride of Yahweh. I mean, come on, you know. So, but that, you know, was what I would hope for Kim, to be able to draw those things out of the cloud. Where the origin, where did that got started? You down here on earth trying to figure out where something got started. Come on now. You know, that separation took place in them, and there wasn't no angels fighting against each other. They were warm with that which was in their own consciousness, their own heart mind.
He couldn't explain to you where Yahshua Messiah was.
Right. No, he couldn't. He didn't recognize, because when he said Yahshua, he talking about somebody walked around on the earth plane. That ain't the Yahshua that started. That's not the root. Elohim. That's his name. Yahshua. He's the salvation of Yahweh. That's the only hope of glory. Yeah.
He could have named another group that he would have did the self-same thing he did to the Hebrews. So be glad it wasn't you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He could choose whoever he wanted to. Right.
Yeah. But I mean, what about when there was no Jews?
Right.
There was a time there were no Jews.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. I meant like that.
No, I'm talking about with him. It's like, what do you think that lineage of people were? You know? That ain't stuff we need to be fooling with.
You're right, Shelley, because Abraham was the first one that they would always talk to him about Jews. There were no Jews before that. Mm-hmm. Abraham wasn't born a Jew.
Right. Exactly. I mean, and see, we know that when Yahweh teaches you, when Yahweh reveals to you, he opens up those things. Even if you heard it for the first time, you know it to be true. Why? Because Yahweh's present with you, in you, not putting something up on you or putting something in you. He don't work like that. And we saw that with Dr. Glenn Kinley every day. And sometimes I'm just like, I get happy and proud that I didn't even know that I retained all of what he taught me, those things. And yet, too, like he said, I can't teach you all that you can know of Yahweh and for those things, but it took what he gave me to be able to open the door, to open the vision, that all those others that I might be able to see, what is yet there for me, because he didn't tell you everything Yahweh gave him for him, because it wasn't for you, it was for him.
It shows you how far Dr. Harris' murder went. His teacher was Dr. Harris's son, so and his son learned from Dr. Harris. Mm-hmm. So taught him down in the water. And just think how many people have the same brain he had that come out of that school. That's why Katrina came to wash him out of there.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Not gonna be a
well, we left out of there. We left out of there too before it got to us. Hey.
But it didn't come.
Well, no, you never got started in there. You was visiting a land,
right?
But they began their tutorship there.
That's right.
That sounds like a good reason not to go to the General Assembly. All them people holding the IDMR gathered up in one place. That don't sound.
A bomb may go off in there.
Well, now you be like Samson when who had the woman to guide him in between those two pillars, because all the kings of the land was right there in that temple at that time. And when he grabbed those two pillars that held that temple up, and asked Yahweh for that strength back, and he caused it to move, he killed more that day, than all his whole lifespan, because he brought the whole kingdom down.
And that's funny too. Maybe that's really why they haven't had no General Assembly in the past 26 years or whatever. They was too scared to gather together.
Yeah.
It was like, oh no, we all get together in one place. Who knows? Hurt my
shit. Right. Look, Elohim show up and they all go cuckoo because they ain't prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And this, we've been telling this to Kim ever since he's been coming to.
Ever since. I think it's been so many ways that we've come, try to get him to see. But like you said, that's your spiritual autism. Yeah.
Well, maybe next time we break out the charts and stuff like that, because I've watched so many people be swayed by people who seem to they're running up and down the charts looking like they know what they're talking about, but you got to know and realize they don't know what they're talking about.
We
I've
broke
watched people
out the charts on him one time.
It's very odd that this conversation is what's supposed to touch you. It's not someone up on a board beating some things in. It's this conversation because you're speaking. It's the inner man. It's the you. It's what you go through on a daily that's communicating with you, and it's strange. It's strange when people buck.
And I remember Dr. Glenn Kinley saying once, I ain't interested in no types of shadows, though he taught them to us,
right.
And not like a sing-song or dwelling it in us. He was more after, like we said, getting you to know and see that you were Yahweh, and that, but yet at the same time, he taught us so well, even in a type and a shadow, if I don't get up and run types and shadows and teach them, you can't fool me with none of what you teaching about it, because I know, because Yahweh is the schoolmaster, and that's who dwells in me, so no, you can't trip me up on it, but that was, and he said, he taught us in a way that you can't even deceive yourself.
Right.
Now that's some power. Not only can nobody else deceive you, but you can't deceive yourself. Why? Because the truth, the measure of truth, the one rod, the reed, that's in you, which is Yahweh. With you all the days of your life.
I think there were episodes where, like I said, I haven't met Dr. Kinley, but I used to have all his tapes. I read everything I could get my hands on. And I heard stories from back then from people who walked with him. And they would say instances where people would try to trick Dr. Kinley up, trip him up. That scientists come, people in the world come, trying to trip him up. Now, I know Yahshua, or Yahweh in that body, always had somebody trying to question him, Sadducees or Pharisees. And they really didn't want to know, but they wanted to see where he was at. And when he gave them the gospel, they went away, as I say the expression, with weeping and gnashing of teeth, because they couldn't trip up Dr. Kinley. Some of them didn't even see that they were Yahweh in the body. And they went away like, no, that's a cult. This man didn't really have a vision. This is the way it should be. That still happens. So if we tend to think that, I'm smiling because I guess I'm being messy, because I'm hoping that anybody who don't understand that they're Yahweh in the body, that they will come around. That's what I really want. That's the love of Yahweh in me. But don't you think that Yahweh is not discerning in me, that when somebody's coming to cause strife, he mentions that about vain babbling. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to discern, not only having that hope for our brother, which includes women too, but understand when somebody's trying to throw off questions just to see where you at. You got to be aware of that. Everybody don't have good intentions. And that's why Yahweh said, basically, separate yourself from them. And that's in the scripture. See, that Dr. Kinley had to go away knowing that people were coming at him like, you didn't have no vision, or this is just artwork. This ain't even pictorially illustrated in the Bible. You had people who just couldn't see it. See? And same thing is going on now. It hasn't stopped. And I'm going to say we should always be cognizant that this good gift that Yahweh is giving you, which is himself, that there's going to be people saying, look, you a lie. That ain't true. And I'll ask all questions. You've had debate more, Johnson, than I've had debate. So habits when somebody's coming at you. One guy that looked at you, sent the video to us, he was just full of doubt, but he wanted to ask questions to see if he could pick you up. See, that hasn't stopped, but that's happening right in class. See, against the truth. And if you walk away and act like you don't see that, then it hasn't been revealed to you yet. But the same thing has happened with Glenn, questioning and saying, well, I'm probing because I want to see if they really understand. See, that hasn't stopped. So don't think that calls are just called like, yeah, they really want to know. I'm saying that in front of all y'all faces. That's me. And talk goes around behind these calls. They do. Our hope is that they see. But don't think them calls ain't having some extra stuff that happen.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's why when we're preaching the gospel to a man, when we're teaching someone of Yahweh, Yahshua, we're not trying to teach that old man.
Right.
We're resurrecting the spirit within the man. We are speaking to ourselves within the man.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Within that person. I ain't speaking to the corrupted person who you contrive yourself to be. I'm putting that man to death. I'm not trying to resuscitate him or give him some type of holding on to life. So it's like, you know what I mean? I don't care. I don't care about what someone might say or what they're even saying in the moment. Like, I realized listening again to a lot of Glenn's tapes where I've listened to before, there was a whole bunch of tapes where there was a whole time where I was watching them back to back to back to back, and then I'd fall asleep, and the YouTube had already played through like 4 or 5 of them while I was sleeping. Now I've come back to tapes, listening again, and I'm like, I've already been saying that. Now the question comes to my mind is, wait, was I saying that? Did I know that before I slept through hearing that? Or is that something that was, like, did I sleep through that and it was imprinted in me to where now I've been saying it, and now I go back and listen to it, and I found out when I heard it, but I didn't hear it while I was awake. It was said to me while I was sleeping type of thing. So it's like, that just shows Yahweh speaks right there within the man. And those things that Yahweh speaks, like the man could be rebutting all his days. But it's Yahweh speaking within that man, putting him to putting that old man to death. And so when you put that truth out upon that man, when the truth is poured out upon that man, the words are there now to re-come up within that man when those things are brought up. Like he could go back and he could start talking a whole bunch of mess, and they believe this and they believe that, and guess what? He's repeating the points we made, and they're coming out of his mouth. And then that one in him are like, yeah, you hear what you just said? Yeah, you see what you just said? To where he's still talking, and he's kind of, you know how you get where you think you got a point, and then it comes out your mouth, and you just keep going with it. At the same time, you in your mind like, wait a minute, I just proved myself wrong.
Right.
That kind of experience.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, indeed. Hallelujah.
Yes, understood. Right. Okay.
Well,
tomorrow.
I'm hoping I didn't miss a lot.
You didn't miss a lot.
No, you didn't.
Oh,
You didn't.
great.
You're right on time.
You're right on time. You're right on time.
Well, we'll see you tomorrow, Renard, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well.
10 o'clock?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I better be up at 6. Yeah. I'll be ready. Okay,
all right.
We'll get the close out tonight. All right, well, with that being said, now unto him who is able to keep you from falling, to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding delight, to the only wise Elohim, our Savior, Yahshua the Messiah, our Sovereign, belongs glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and forever. Let us all say, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And let us all continue to know by one name shall we all be called Yahweh.
Yahweh.
That's
right. All right. Myron. That was Myron. Bernard, I couldn't even think of his name. Myron. Yeah. Anyway, have you heard anything from her? Tracy said the funeral?
she finished her nursing school, so she's working. And
okay, that's
prepare a letter for immigration about their relationship. Told him what he told me. That he loved it. So hey, it was nothing else to tell him. Anyway, so it came out okay. Thank you,
then
Jonathan.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, and your sound sounds like it got better, Doc. Whatever you did while you were on.
Yeah, I turned some down, turned some up. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hear a background noise anymore.
Thank you. Love you.
Or
Take
love
care,
you
guys.
too.
Bye-bye.